Hello and welcome to the 2013 edition of Journey to the Throne. For this year's Miss Dominica pageant, we have some tough competition out there, and right now we're joined with Miss Jeanne Louisa Royer of Goodwill. And Jeanne, nice of you to join us.
Thank you, it's very nice to be here.
Likewise. Getting started, why did you enter this competition?
I entered this competition because every year for Carnival I would help my parents and do a lot of backstage work. So I decided that this year, instead of being behind the stage, I should take a more upfront role in Carnival. So I decided to go up for the Miss Dominica pageant.
Okay, you're contestant number one. How does it feel to be contestant number one?
Well, with being contestant number one, it's a little difficult because you know you're first and not everyone is able to compare you to the other contestants. But in that regard, you can set the pace and you can really, set the standard for the rest of the contestants.
How prepared are you this year?
I'm getting prepared. So far, it's about 26 days until the show. And, dresses are being made, the swimsuit is being made, everything is being made. And it's just up to me to put in the practices to make sure I'm well prepared.
What would you say your greatest challenge is preparing for this competition?
My greatest challenge will be to not have the stage fright on the night, because you can do the practices, but it's until the night of the show is when you'll actually be in front of everyone, and you don't have that benefit to have people at your practices, the full thousands of people. So I hope I can be able to overcome that on the night.
That's totally understandable. What can Dominica expect from Miss Jeanne Royer on the night of the show?
Apart from my best performance, I can expect to I will have a very amazing talent. I will have a very, very special swimsuit. I've never seen a design like that. And my dress will be the most fabulous dress. The most fabulous dress. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so about Goodwill. I've read up on the history of Goodwill, and the history is quite inspiring. How does it feel to be from a community with such rich history, and you're actually representing them? How does it feel?
To me, it's a very wonderful opportunity because Goodwill is a fairly new community. It's been established roughly 50, 60 years ago. And in that space of time, the caliber of people that have come from Goodwill, it's something to be proud of. That we're filled with talented people who, especially for Carnival, calypsonians, costume designers, talent, coaches, and queens even. And to come from a background of people like that, even the people from Goodwill, they give me their full support, and they're very warm and they're very community based, so it's really nice.
You mentioned being talented and being from Goodwill, but you yourself are quite talented. You've been involved in numerous activities. You've won many competitions, including the 2007 Tourism Knowledge Competition. You were selected to do a biology internship with the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C., among a long list of other things. Do you think coming from Goodwill has any correlation with your determination amongst these other people, these other pioneers that are from Goodwill?
Well, I would say that the pace of Goodwill is not a slow pace, so you're always encouraged to keep doing things. There's always activities, and where I might be doing well in my schoolwork, I see, my friends, they do basketball, they are parts of the Red Cross. There are lots of activities in Goodwill that, give you that inspiration, that push, that, you can't just relax on a weekend. Weekends are lively, people are playing music, people are always talking to each other, they take an interest in what you're doing, and in doing so you find that other people from Goodwill, they help you, they push you. So some of my teachers might be from Goodwill, and then we have that community attitude where we help each other.
A lot of these pioneers have left a legacy. I mean, a lot of lanes were named after some of these great pioneers. At the end of your life, what would you want your legacy to be?
My legacy essentially would just be that I was a person who was determined, I did my best in whatever aspect of life that I chose, and that it's an example that any Dominican can follow.
If I looked in a dictionary, what would be 2 words that describe you?
2 words I would probably choose are maybe artistic and amiable, because I'm artistic. I use my creative avenues, and I think innovatively, and I put my ideas I make my ideas into reality. And even with art and through all the different competitions, for example, I really try to use my creativity to the maximum. Then amiable, I'm always making friends. I'm very charismatic. It's easy for me to make friends. I try and be very social, and I enjoy going out and having a good time, and I have a lot of friends.
One of the questions that I ask in this pageant, in this interview process, rather, is the population, the Dominican population, is known not to be a reading population, but you're an avid reader, and most of my viewers would agree that that's a plus, okay? Who's your favorite author and why?
My favorite author, well, at the time being, because every time I read a book, that person becomes my favorite author. I see the benefits in whatever they're writing. But at the moment, my favorite author is Jean Rhys. I've read her only book, which is Wide Sargasso Sea, and she describes, well, in the book it's Jamaica, but I know it's Dominica because they've mentioned places that are in Dominica. Maybe she chose Jamaica to appeal to a wider audience, but I know it's Dominica, and she was from Dominica. And the way that she wrote, the way that she has portrayed Dominica to me is the best portrayal of any country.
Really? Describe some of the things that she says about Dominica.
Well, she would describe, well, in the book, in the novel, she was, the main character is Antoinette, and Antoinette lives in Dominica, and they have to try and pull her away to live in England, and she doesn't want to live in England. And she talks about how she loves Dominica, and she was a young child, and she went by the river, and she would go to her estate, and they would stay in the cool mountain breezes and drink local coffee, and eat jam, and it's so Dominican. You read it, and you actually love Dominica from reading it.
So while we're on the subject of reading, are you abreast of any government initiatives taking place in your community, in Goodwill?
Well, there is an initiative that has just been taken by Goodwill. It was established by the Honorable Julius Timothy, which is the Computer Learning Initiative. They set up a new information technology department in Goodwill where the local Goodwill people can come and use computers and get educated from that. And
how important do you think that initiative is to Goodwill's young people, their progression?
I do think it's important for not only Goodwill but for every community to have that opportunity where you can go and learn about computers in a right setting instead of just always focusing on the social networking parts of it. But young people, they need to understand that computers are very, very educational in terms of using the different mediums. Like you can use videos, music, pictures, songs, as opposed to books. Books are still good, but the technology opens up all these different avenues. And with this program, they're allowed to realize the best ways in which they can use it. They're taught to utilize it in its best way.
Tell me your thoughts on government's recent initiative to rehabilitate the Princess Margaret Hospital. What do you think about that?
I think that is one of the best projects. It has been long in the making. It's overdue, I would say, almost, that we're getting a new, well, they've started with the oncology department and the neonatal department, and with all the new technology and all the new machines that they're getting, I believe that the health and medical aspects of Dominica, they will be very benefited. They will be highly beneficial to Dominicans because, the health of the nation is in the wealth of the nation.
Who is your greatest inspiration and why?
My greatest inspiration at this point in time is President Barack Obama, because he has inspired me through his campaigning and through his presidency as the first black president of America. And he's really set a good standard for people. He has led his presidency in a very positive direction, and he's an example for my generation.
Tell me a little about your sponsor, and I know that there's some relation to Dutch Lady and your youth. Tell me about that.
Well, I'm very privileged to be sponsored by Dutch Lady Power Shake. Power Shake is an energy-based drink. It's a milk-based drink which gives you energy and fiber, and it has minerals and vitamins added to it to give you energy when you need it the most. It comes in 3 delicious flavors: chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. And well, I use it in going up for the pageant, and it really makes a difference.
Okay, but I also understand that you were raised on Dutch Lady as well.
I was. My grandmother had a shop, and I can remember from being very small that she sold Dutch Lady milk and the small cans and the powdered milk, and it was a brand that I knew growing up.
So it's no coincidence that they are your sponsor. Okay. Okay. Each contestant has a platform, something that is dear to them. Jeanne, I want you to tell your viewers about your platform and why it is so important to you.
My platform is nature conservation, and I chose nature conservation because I am very passionate about the flora and fauna that Dominica has, and I believe that future generations of Dominicans should be able to enjoy the level of nature that we have today. I think it's very important for us to preserve this nature so that Dominica can retain its title as Dominica, the nature island of the world. And I believe that the things that we can do today to reduce the impact that we have on the environment.
Okay, that was nature's conservationist Jeanne Royer representing Goodwill. Be sure to join her on the eve of February 8th at the Miss Dominica pageant. I'm Pearl Fontaine. See you next time on Journey to the Throne. Hello and welcome to the 2013 edition of Journey to the Throne. For this year's Miss Dominica pageant, I can assure you that there's some tough competition between the 7 beauties vying for the Miss Dominica crown. Right now I'm joined by Miss Melinda Siobhan Ulysses representing Stock Farm. Melinda, nice of you to join us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to get straight to the point. Some people might look at you and not know that you're a teacher, but you are a teacher. And some people may think, wow, she has a full-fledged career and she's taking part in the Miss Dominica pageant. So why did you decide to join this year's pageant?
Well, I am not just a teacher, I am also an artist, and I spread messages through my songs. So I saw the Miss Dominica pageant as an opportunity on a wider base and a higher level to spread a message through the promise of my platform to everyone who is willing to listen.
Nice, nice. Taking part in this competition, I suppose, is an opportunity to improve your being every single day. Has there been any change to who you are from the time that you signed on to now?
Very much so. Almost everything about me has changed because I would say I was a bit tomboyish. I grew up with 3 brothers, but right now I have to pay attention to my outfits and what I wear and how I speak, whom I speak to, about what I speak to them. It's a total package. You have to become the pageant. You have to let things become you in order to succeed.
How prepared are you for the pageant?
I think I'm very prepared, and I think that I owe it to my marvelous team who is working tirelessly around the clock to get me where I need to be.
Nice. If you win, what will your message be?
My message would still be that of self-defense, which is my platform, because I believe that everyone has a battle or a fight that they need to win, be it some type of abuse or some sort of chains that's holding them back. They need to break free from that and get past it to succeed in life.
Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Hopefully in France, getting my master's degree in French.
Nice, in French. Wow. That's a love language, isn't it?
It is, very much so.
And what is it that you love about the French language?
I love everything about French, not just the language, but the culture, the way that they dress, the way that they speak, their music, their style of dancing. Everything about French is just, to me, marvelous and interesting.
How long have you admired the French?
Well, I failed all through high school, so I did not admire it back then. But I got a 2 for CXC, and that just sparked my interest. I said, hey, I actually understand this. So in becoming a French teacher at the St. Mary's Primary, I was sent to Martinique by the government and the University of Martinique and Guadeloupe, UAG. And then I furthered my education, and I just really fell in love with everything French.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, as a teacher, okay, it's been said that the Dominican population is not a reading population. What are some of the creative ways that we could encourage our youth to enjoy reading or to even read?
Okay, I think that it's all based in what they read. I think if you have them reading some American-based story, they cannot identify with what they are reading. For example, Reindeers and Snow, they have no idea what that is. So I think if we get these Caribbean-based books about little boys and girls just like themselves, they would want to know, hey, what's this child's story? I want to read about this. And also I teach boys, so I know that boys are very visual. So it's not just the reading. I encourage them to read from a screen or to read the little conversation clouds in a comic book or something like that, so it sparks their interest.
Okay, while that may be true, or I would like to agree with you, be something that they identify with. However, wouldn't it be great to open up their minds to another world?
Agreed, but I think to spark their interest, we start with home.
All right, you are from the community of Stock Farm. Tell us 3 things that people might not know about Stock Farm. Something beautiful about Stock Farm.
First of all, that Stock Farm is a very safe place, regardless of the prison being there. It's very safe, it's very quiet, and that although you may not find a lot of activity like in Newtown or Maho, the people of Stock Farm are very much together. I mean, everyone knows each other. When we have someone who is sick, we go to visit, we band together to just do what we have to do.
Okay, family-oriented and community-spirited. That's great. What do you think of the 10 Petrocasa houses being built in your community?
I think that it is a plus because, I mean, in every community you find people of different financial backgrounds. You find some are able to develop and others are not. So I think that the housing project is one of significance. It will help a lot of people.
Okay, so I know that it's the Prime Minister's wish to select single mothers to become beneficiaries of those homes. What do you think of that, and how important do you think that is for your community on a whole?
I think it's important because the target are single mothers. I think they would get a deeper sense of independence in having a house of their own and a proper place to raise their child rather than having to depend on other people. And I think they will gain respect in a sense from the rest of the community because people tend to look down on single unemployed mothers, things like that. So I think it's a positive aspect.
Okay, as a teacher and as someone who has evolved where education is concerned, the new the new state-of-the-art Dominica State College is being constructed in your community. Yes. How important do you think that is for your community and the wider population? Yeah.
Well, for my community, we'll be the center of attention. On a wider base, I think that the new college is very important because it's a lot bigger, first of all, which means it can facilitate a lot more students. Because when I hear of the thousands graduating from high school each year, I say to myself, Lord, is there space for them to go to college or for them to get a job? So I think that it is generally positive.
What would you say is the biggest challenge for young people today, and why?
The biggest challenge for young people today is knowing their place, because in my opinion, they're a bit unsure of what they should be doing, when they should be doing it, who they should be doing it with. I think that we need a lot more positivity in our youth, because as a young person myself, I see the things that are going on and I am somewhat ashamed of some of them, and I feel the need, I feel a certain empathy, and I say, oh my gosh, these children need guidance and they need the proper influence. And
who's your greatest inspiration?
My greatest inspiration is my mother.
Okay.
Because I have seen that woman with miracles create something out of nothing, and she never gave up on her family, she never gave up on her children. She just did what she had to do, and she has faith that I have no idea how to describe it. Nothing can deter my mother from her faith.
Wow, wow. What's the most important lesson or something that your mother's told you that for life you'll keep it dear to you?
Do with what you have. Don't ever do too much to get something that is not yours, because it probably doesn't belong to you in the first place. So if you have, 10 loaves, do with 10 loaves.
Okay. So you were sponsored by Petrocaribe and DA Vibes. But talk to us a little about your knowledge of Petrocaribe and what they're doing in Dominica.
Okay, well, I know that Petrocaribe has been around for quite some time now, and that, in my opinion, it's a very positive gesture, because they have contributed in many ways. They have rebuilt the Salibre Primary School, and I must say, as a teacher, I envy that building.
Really?
It's state of the art. It's very, very nice. It's a learning environment. Yes, it is. They have also indulged in road projects in Petite Souvrière and other places. They give free gas to centenarians. They just find themselves in all aspects, in education, in youth, in elderly. They have filling stations in Saint Sauveur for the fishermen who had to travel all the way to Marigot to get gas for their boats and things like that.
Okay. And I'm sure that you're proud to be sponsored by them.
Very much so.
Okay.
I'm very proud of all my sponsors.
Each of the contestants has a platform, something that's dear to them. So Melinda, tell your viewers about your platform and why it's so important to you.
My platform is self-defense against any and everything. And I chose that platform because I am someone who believes that you need to be able to do for yourself and to defend yourself against whatever it is that is preventing you from moving forward in life. My platform is very broad. It involves self-defense against disease and infection, against any type of abuse, against vulnerability, against boredom, against being idle. So it's very important to me, because me as a young person, and it does not just apply to young people, it applies to everybody, we have that fight to fight, and we should try to win.
That was Miss Melinda Siobhan Ulysses representing Stock Farm. Her platform was self-defense on a wide scale. Please join her on the eve of February 8th, where I'm sure she'll captivate you while she vies for the Miss Dominica crown. Join us again next time on Journey to the Throne. I'm Pearl Fontaine. See you again.